Zero
Well,
stress.
welcome back to the Good Builder podcast. Today, I am super, super excited to have this gentleman here. He has done so much for this industry. He's trained about, I'd say, near 2,500 builders on how to become more profitable and run a better business. He's been around since about 2004, so about 21 years in the industry. So I think that says a lot in terms of a business, especially in this space. And he's trained builders that have won Master Builders Awards, HIA Awards, been on Grand Designs, you know, given advice on the block, all sorts of things. And today we have the legend, Marti Amos from The Professional Builder. How are you, mate?
I'm fantastic, Aaron. You can't get a better introduction than that. I'm glad that my $20 is going to good use.
Mate, I don't think that's the $20. You do a lot for this.
The
You do a
tip's going
lot
to be
for this
bigger.
industry, mate. 21 years. And the other thing that I wanted to raise too, and something that we're going to talk about today is, you know, you've done all of that over 21 years, but you keep going. And one of the coolest things that you're doing at the moment is the pipeline and profit road shows that you're doing through Queensland and New South Wales, mate. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to catch up with you today and let all our listeners, we've got about 20,000 listeners out there. So we want to let all our listeners how to get involved in those things, because I think cash flow is king, and it's going to either set you out on a good path or a pretty nasty path, mate. But before we get into all that, you've got a massive history. I just want to know about the man that is Marty and what you've been up to over these last few decades and where you come from.
Thanks, Aaron. I couldn't ask for a better introduction. So I grew up on Stewart Island, the bottom in New Zealand. There's only a small island. There's only 400 people live there.
Yeah.
I'll just hold this up to show you I've only got 5 fingers, not 6.
Yeah.
I went to Otago University, did an honours in marketing, did a master's, started doing a PhD, lectured on marketing. Started a couple of businesses while I was at university. So I've always been very curious, like, how can I put all these marketing skills into action? How can I grow a good profitable business that has a good impact on people? And then went to Otago Uni, shifted up to Auckland, and got a bit cold down at uni. And I'm a massive petrol head. I'm into cars and motorbikes. So I've got a Ducati V4S that I go away on long trips and do track days with, and then do a few car track days with the car club that we're in.
What kind of car,
And
Marty, if you don't
it's
mind?
no, absolutely. It's a GT3 Porsche.
Mate, there are so many in the industry that are into this. We know a few builders over here that are racing the GT3s.
Perfect.
Well done, mate. Well done. So are you pro-am?
No, just track days, very amateur.
Okay, cool.
Like gentleman racing. Yeah. I think that's a big thing, is to be able to reward yourself, and you're your most important asset in your business. And so because as entrepreneurs, we're always looking at the horizon, like what's next, what's coming up. And you've got to look back and go, well, where we are compared to 12 months or 24 months ago, I would have been stoked to have had these problems that we're having now. Yeah. And so good thing to tie reward to your milestones and your vision book. What does success look like? What are the milestones? And then how am I going to reward myself and my family? Thanks.
No one's really talked about that on the podcast either. I've actually got a few builders, to be honest with you, Marty, that I'd probably like to put in touch with you, because one of them had probably spoilt himself, I'd say, and felt bad about it. And I said to him, dude, why do you feel bad about it? Like, you have created a great business. You know what wants to get better. I know you want to get better, but you shouldn't be ashamed of what you can do for yourself.
Absolutely. That's the whole reason, right, why we're in business, is to create a great business that gives true wealth, both more money and more time.
I love it.
And then how are you going to reward yourself? So I bought I got tired of, I worked in Honda motorcycling. I was the marketing director for Honda for New Zealand. And then I was the country manager of Pirelli, the tire company. So did a lot of international business, and we grew that to 54 outlets in New Zealand. And got tired of working for the man and wanted to work for myself. So I bought an Action Coach business coaching franchise. Yep. And we coached every business under the sun, from manufacturers to retail stores to hair salons to painting companies to plumbers, sparkies, and builders.
Yeah.
And with builders, we found we had a lot of builders that were getting great results because typically they're great at their work, they're great at doing great projects,
Absolutely.
but they just need help to build a great business. And it's a different set of skills that you need to learn to be able to build a great business. So we found that because they're playing with big numbers typically, we were able to, through focusing on margins, productivity improvement, pricing, sales and marketing, we're able to help them get great results.
Yeah.
So then about 12 years ago, we decided, okay, we're just going to focus solely on building company owners. And at that stage, there was 3 of us in the business. And now we've grown, so we're just in New Zealand. Then we went to Australia. Then we went to the US. And now we're in Canada, the UK. We've got some members in Puerto Rico and Hawaii now, which is quite amazing. So,
wow.
Yeah, so we've grown to 85 people now. 31 of those are coaches. And up until about 3 years ago, we're kind of like, well, we're putting out all this great content. Why aren't people executing and implementing as much, because most people would only get through 10 or 20% of the content that we'd accumulated of best practice.
Yeah.
And we're like, because learning is half, right? You got to learn before you earn. And the other half is action. So learning plus action equals transformation.
Yep.
So we're like, okay, where are we falling down as a business? And it's like, well, it's either A, most people come to us because either A, they don't know what to do, or B, they know what they should be doing, but they're not implementing.
Yes.
So we're like, well, if we can help solve I'm not sure what to do by helping them prioritize through the roadmap, which we have.
Yeah.
It's basically, depending on the size of your business, what have you done and what do you need help with in terms of sales, marketing, systems, team leadership? It gives them a score out of 85.
Wow.
So they can self-identify as a roadmap.
Yes.
And they can
anything nowadays, I think.
Yeah, exactly. They can self-audit where they're at.
Yes.
And what area they need to work on next
100%.
based on the size of their business. Are they 1 to 2 million, 2.5 to 5, 5 to 12, or 12 plus?
Wow.
Then the second key part is implementing. So that's when we started 3 years ago. We started hiring and onboarding more coaches. So we have 31 coaches now to help actually implement these strategies into people's businesses. So this is why we've seen massive growth over the last 2.5 years, is with that focus on helping members implement the strategies into the business and hold them accountable. So we have 3 levels of coaches across those 31 coaches. The first is specialty coaches.
Yeah.
So those are building company owners in Sydney, Toowoomba, Wagga Wagga, Perth, Dubbo, etc., that have owned their own building companies, and they're very successful, and they actually help you with any specifics that you need help with. The second one is performance coaches. So every month, our members meet for a one-on-one coaching session where we go through their numbers. So we have a direct feed for all our members out of 0. It goes into what's called a Fathom report. That gives a printout of a financial report about 20 pages long. And then our coaches go through with the building company owners every month to figure out, okay, where are you at margin-wise? What do we need to do to improve cash flow? Are you on track with regards to your forecast versus actual? Which projects are getting you the most money and which ones are giving you the most headaches? And then we help implement the right strategies based off the numbers, so we're not guessing.
Mate.
And then the last one is accountability coaches or success coaches.
Yeah.
So we have 11 of those. They'll call you up and they'll go, hey, Aaron, how are you going with getting the job description up for the new foreman?
Yep.
Oh, mate, I've been flat out, bro. I'm stuck between 3 jobs, blah, 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 blah. Like, hey, have you got 5 minutes now? What if I pull it up now and I'll help you actually get it into play, and we'll get it up on Seek or Indeed so that we can start getting more applicants coming through.
Wow.
So they'll actually walk through and implement, help execute. And we found that's one of the big differences between us and most of the other coaching businesses, and probably why we're growing so fast now. Members are winning because we help with the knowledge and we actually help you implement it into your business.
Well, mate, for me, Marty, there sounded like a number of things of why you're so successful. I've never heard of anything like that. That is absolutely so cool, mate. The execution bit is critical, and I hear that a lot. I've heard a lot of builders that we know say, they've done various coaching courses, not yours, but they've done various coaching courses, and it's the execution bit that just doesn't happen. They do these things. Then on the flip
100%.
side, mate, what I love about your business and what you've set up and the way you've thought about it, and I never even thought about it like this, was you have successful builders that have been there and done it, and then coaching.
Exactly, right? And I think that's a big thing of our environment and our ecosystem. Like, we have over 1,000 members in our community, is that a lot of the guys who've succeeded want to give back because they've learned through other members who've helped them. And so just two of our new coaches who've started in the last couple of months, a guy Justin Cook from Sydney, fantastic guy. He coaches our growth accelerator members. He grew from, when he came to us, he was doing about $1 million, wasn't making a lot of profit, was struggling with time for his family. And he is now at $2.5 million, got great margin, has bought back his times, built out a lot of his team. And he now gets to jiu-jitsu 3 times a week with his kids. He's a running machine. He's an athlete from hell. And so he helps our members. And then we've got another coach, Richard Fiskey, who's grown from 3 mil to about 12 mil. He's got 2 sites, one in Timaru, one in Twizel. Had about 31 guys, and he's also doing some really cool stuff. So he's won 56 Master Builders Awards.
Wow.
He's doing some really cool stuff with regards to, he structured a buy-in with his general manager. So general managers bought a small percentage of the company. So getting out of that operational stuff at the day-to-day level. And then he's also got a property portfolio where some of his team are able to buy into, and they're buying old houses below value, renovating them. And so they're creating an asset base for the team to win from. So that helps track team members, reward them, and builds a great culture.
Holy shit, Marty. I don't think I've got anything else to say than that, mate. It is phenomenal the way you've thought about this business and the way you go about your coaching. I think the other thing is I've done a little bit of work in New Zealand, Marty. So I did it with GJ Gardner when I was there. And
awesome.
I don't know if
Where were you? Whereabouts were you?
I was based here in Australia, but I looked after Australia, New Zealand, and the US. So we worked across, the master franchise over there, Ellie and Grant Porteous, who are lovely people. Maybe we should make an introduction to you. Great builders over there. But I also helped manage the Stonewood Homes marketing for the last sort of 5-6 years, from about 2018, 2019. I stopped as of last year. But New Zealand's a bit of a tougher market, mate, too. Like I said,
absolutely.
Builders producing in those markets, there's a lot more commitment there. Land's a bit, the way you go about land's a bit different. It's a bit more strategic. You need cash flow. So I always found that it translates quite well, New Zealand builders over to here. And vice versa, I think, what you do there. So, mate, to have this in New Zealand's pretty nuts, mate.
Yeah. I think that's a really important thing.
It is.
We've then realized that how critical it is to have local coaches in each market that are weapons. So we have American coaches who own their own building companies in America, Canadian, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really important to have local teams that understand the rules, the laws, the state laws, and are familiar with what's working well. And I think that's one of the best things about our community, because we have such a great community and people sharing. We interview our members every week. So we have a wins channel that populates probably, 30 to 45 wins every week. So people securing new projects, hiring an office manager, buying back time, scaling multiple sites. And then what we'll do is we'll go and select the best ones, and we'll go and interview them to get the gold from them. And then, so great one, Hayden, he'd been struggling to get work for about 6 months. The phone hadn't rung. He went with, okay, what do we got to do to solve this? So I've had enough of this. I know I can do better. So we jumped in to help systemize his sales process over 45 days.
Wow.
And during that 45 days, he signed 4 projects worth a total of 4.1 mil out of Wellington. He charged for his quotes for the first time. So he got paid $3.5K for 3 of them.
Wow.
And then because it works so well, and we're like, holy shit, you can do this in 45 days by putting your mind to something. We interviewed him, and then he's given everything from his phone scripts, his qualifying questionnaire, his info pack that's sent out, what he does on the first site visit, how his prelim budget process works, the agreement that goes with it, the script that goes with it, and then the quote into an action plan. So we do this with everything, we interview our best members who are crushing a particular aspect, and then we look for where are the gaps in our content or curriculum that people want help with.
Well, mate, I'm still sitting here blown away because I'm just thinking that why did I start the Good Builder?
To be the great builder.
I know. I did, but it's exactly what you were doing. It is exactly what you have already done for 21 years, and I applaud you for that, Marty. I don't get jealous. I'm not that kind of guy. That's why it's so. This is the first time we've actually spoke, everybody. And what I love about this is I get to discover what you do. And I did look at you, and I was like, they're doing things differently. And mate, everything you described is what we do. So we have a community that we talk to on a podcast, basically like I'm doing with you now, and we disseminate the information around to our community to try and make them better. And you do that.
Exactly.
The people that you coach. That is phenomenal, mate. Well done. Love it.
Oh, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. It's good to get a pat on the back.
Oh, well, mate, yeah, you probably don't get many because you're too busy forging ahead. But anyway, not anyway, but mate, you're all around the world, which I love too. And, you obviously coached a lot of builders, or you and your team have coached a lot of builders everywhere. What are some of the common pitfalls do you see? I honestly didn't know that you were so far reaching as Puerto Rico, mate. But what do you sort of see as some of the common pitfalls across the board? Is it very similar across countries?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So typically there's two things that it's either one, a lack of skills, or two, identity and self-limiting beliefs. So you need to gain the skills first of where's the company growing? What kind of business do I want to build for myself? What does success look like 12 months and 5 years from now? And then what are all the skills that I need to learn from how to price projects profitably, how to enroll team members, how to have job descriptions, scorecards, incentive schemes. How do I market to keep my pipeline full 6 to 12 months so I'm not competing on price to win a job just to keep my guys busy? How do I make sure that I have a great sales process that is done the same way every time, that answers people's 4 key questions? Who are you? Who's your company? Can I trust you? And how specifically can you help me? Yeah. And then how do I understand the numbers that drive cash flow and profit in my business so that my bank account goes up every month rather than being like a roller coaster?
Yeah.
And then how do I step out every 90 days and buy back 1 day a week? And what am I heading towards? So what's my business maturity date? What does success look like 18 months, 24 months from now? So am I going from 3 mil to 5 mil, from 6 days a week to 5, and be able to take 3-week holidays off when I want? It's like, okay, cool. What needs to happen in order to make that a reality? And who do I need to become to achieve that?
Yeah. Wow. Mate, you made it sound relatively so simple that I think I could do it. And that's what I love about the way you do it. There seems to be this process that you go through with everybody. And as long as they stick to the plan and they're keeping to, as you said, you've got all the coaches that help them through from, actual conception of their plan straight through to execution. It's there for you, Marty.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that because we've seen under the hood of over 3,000 building companies, and we have over 1,000 in our community, we see what's working every day and what's not working. Yeah. So what we do is we'll take what's working, not for the top 5%, but we want to make sure that that then works across the bottom of the market as well. So we want to make sure that it's simple to implement, it's easy to execute, and it pays off all the time when you implement this strategy. Yes. So to do that, it's important to understand the core principles or operate from a first principle basis. Make sure that you have templated best practice, and then that you have people who can hold people accountable and actually give them a pat on the back or a high five when they achieve it, or a slap on the hand and say, hey, Aaron, why are you not implementing this? We talked about this was important. What do you need a hand with to make sure we get this into play?
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing, Marty. Honestly, mate. I've said on this podcast a few times to everyone out there that I think you've always got to look for continuous improvement, and you can't do it alone. You just can't do it alone. You need a set of eyes, and what better than having a set of eyes that have seen under the hood of 3,000 businesses to keep an eye on what you're doing and guide you and give you the guardrails and steer you in the right direction. I think that's super cool, Marty. So, well, mate, I absolutely love your philosophy and how you've gone about the business. Now, in terms, I'm going to switch it a little bit in terms of starting to talk about your pipeline and profit workshops and things that are coming up. But before we do, a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is around margins and obviously, as we just said, pipeline and profit workshops. Why do you think margins are like so critical to builders, and how do they achieve clarity out of it? Do you see that as a big problem for them as well?
Absolutely huge. So a lot of building company owners are great at building projects and doing great work.
Yeah.
But the business of building a great business requires a different set of skills. Numbers are the language of business. They tell us what's working well and what's not working. And they hope us to find, so your whole job as a business owner is to find out what is the number one constraint that if I solve that over the next 45 days would make the biggest difference going forward.
Yeah.
So numbers tell us what's working and what's not. So the difference between margin and markup is one that it amazes me how many building company owners are still uncertain on that.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you a very quick explanation so everyone understands. So the reason, well, I'll explain it first. So the difference between your cost price, let's say you were doing a new build and it was 800K in terms of labor, materials, and subs. Let's say you're then like, well, what am I going to price this to? So we need to reverse engineer what does at least a 20% minimum gross profit margin look like.
Okay.
So that happens to be $1 million. So the difference between the two, between the cost to you and the price that the client pays, is your gross profit. So 1 million minus the 800 gets us 200. That $200,000 gross profit divided by the costs, so 200 divided by 800 is a quarter. So it's 25% markup. So it's marked up on the costs. That 200 grand as a percentage of what the client pays is 200 as a percentage of $1 million is only 20%.
Yeah.
So the difference between how much work you have to do at 20% margin versus 25% margin is significant.
Yeah.
And so on the pipeline and profit roadshow, we actually have, probably can't see it here, but we actually have a table that explains how much work you have to do and how many projects at the different margins. So if you're doing, let's say you're doing 500K job or 250K average jobs, and your goal is to get to $2 million, then you need to do 8 jobs at 25% margin.
Yep.
But at 20% margin, you now need to do 10 projects. And if you're at 15% margin, you actually have to do 15 projects at 15% versus 10 projects at 20%.
Yeah.
So quite often that's where a lot of building company owners go wrong, is by not understanding their margins, not pricing to a target margin and reverse engineering it. You can still mark up your materials, mark up your labor, but reverse engineer that final price to the desired target margin that includes your P&G, your project management, and your overhead recovery margin, so that you're not working for free and so that you hit the golden ratios. So the golden ratios are like the Bible of building. So you need to have at least a 20% gross margin, because your overheads should be between 8 to 12%, including your market rate salary as an operator. So if you're doing the project management and the pricing in the business, then you're probably going to be on 120 to 150, plus a Ford Ranger. And then last And then lastly, we want to make sure that as a company owner, you need to be making at least 10% plus net profit for taking the risks of health and safety, employing people, tax obligation, merchant facilities, etc.
Yeah.
So if you do not know those numbers, business is very difficult, because what you measure, you can manage. And if you don't know, so quite often, once that's what we do with members first. So we have a financials team
Yeah.
that when people first come to us, we plug their profit and loss into our profit calculator. It then identifies, great, if we were to help take your margin from 17 to 20%, your average dollar sale projects from 250 to 400K, your net margin will go from 7% to 11. And it then drops out the bottom, hey, if we were to help you get one more job a quarter at these increased margin, what's possible for your business with the right sales, the right marketing, the right coaching, and the right systems on site and in the office. And it'll go, hey, previously you might have been making 200 grand profit for working 50 hours a week. And with these changes over the next 12 months, you might be able to double that or triple that and make 400,000 or 600,000. And with that extra money, we can then figure out, okay, who are we going to hire in the next 90 days? So what is all the stuff on your plate that you suck at, you procrastinate at, or it's below your professional builder's rate? And we can then go, great, this is my stop doing list, and this forms a job description for the next person that I'm going to hire. And that task list is either stop, automate, or delegate. And that's how we free up at least 8 hours of your time, so that every quarter, so that you can focus on what's the high value stuff up here that is in your genius zone, that has a massive impact on the business, that you enjoy doing and that you're naturally great at.
Yeah. Mate, there's a few, I was just sitting there shaking my head for a few reasons, and it's shaking my head in all. Number one, I've worked for a few franchise groups, and I haven't heard of a financial support arm to a franchise group like you have built into your business. And I think that's highly required of any business. It's
It's a
insane.
game changer, right? It's in real time, direct feed out of
It's insane, man.
88% of our members are on it. And so we take the direct feed out of Xero or MYOB. It produces a Fathom report. Our coaches and the members are then very clear on which projects are producing, which ones aren't, the impact on cash flow. And we can then forecast, okay, if we get a 2% improvement in productivity, or if we were able to raise margin with either front end, mid, or back end margin levers, this will be the outcome. And you're like, great, what are we going to do with that money? Well, we might take 50K of it, or $4,000 a month, and go and hire a part-time marketer. Or we might go, great, we want a full-time office manager.
Yeah.
And that's the next hire.
Yeah. And the other thing, Marty, is not only you guys are doing that, but what we've found with the Good Builder is we've talked to a few different coaching groups. I'm not going to lie to your face. You may listen to us, you may not. But we've talked to a few. And what we've found is some are on one or two specific things that they can, probably give the builder a pretty good hand at. But there's so much other stuff, hiring, recruiting, that sort of thing. I remember back in the GJ's days, we took about 12 to 18 months to put together a recruitment plan, Marty. And we had resources beyond the, and
I think that's a good point that you say then, is that one of the differences of working with someone else, a coach or whatever,
I'm just
is
saying
that you're buying speed. No matter who you work with, you're buying speed. You're buying confidence, clarity, and then execution time, because you're putting into play tested and proven strategies that you're not having to kind of work out through trial and error or trial and terror, whether it's actually going to work, because it's already worked for 470 extra people, or it's already worked for over 1,200 people.
Correct. Yeah. And the reason I kind of went like, oh, Marty, was I think what you do is I think you're not buying, but you get that execution piece. But with others, I don't see that. And that's why when you said that, I wasn't being rude to anyone else, no other groups, whatever. But I just went, oh, I haven't really heard of them conducting it similarly to you. So I just like to point out, the unique value propositions, the unique selling points and differences in the people that we talk to, so the builders can make their own decision. They might not need the execution, some of them listening today, but I know a lot of them will. But I know there's different levels to your coaching courses and structures and things as well. So,
and a good analogy is you can go and join the gym, right? And if you're really self-motivated, you're curious, and you have curiosity and intensity, you'll figure out, well, how do I optimize my sleep? How do I optimize my nutrition?
Love it.
What peptides should I be taking, etc. But if you're not, maybe you're a busy builder, or you're a busy business owner, and you're like, well, I don't have time to research the best nutrition. I don't have time to, or I'm not interested in finding out about peptides. This is like having a nutritionist, a personal trainer, a physio on your beck and call every week to make sure you're doing what you should be to hit the goals that you said was important to you.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, Marty. I think we're trading back and forth with, you got a good point, I got a good point. But to your point, mate, I think a lot of people aren't thinking about their businesses like their health either. Having these PTs, you really should. It's as big a part of your life, because it's going to fuel the rest of your life in terms of the time and resource and things that you're going to be able to do. It's going to fuel your lifestyle. So you should take care of it to help you build your lifestyle. That's what I'm all about.
It's like any great NRL team, like the Broncos, the Storm, the Warriors.
Yeah.
They have strength and conditioning coach, they have a nutritionist, they have physio, they have a doctor. So and then they have mindset coaches. So the All Blacks have this guy Gilbert Enoka, who's fantastic, who's just written a book last month. So so if you think of yourself as a business athlete, it changes that frame to go, okay, cool, who do I need on my team to reach my potential and maybe achieve in the next 12 months what I could achieve over 4 or 5 years trying to figure it all out on my own.
Yeah. I'm going to steal that from you, Marty, if you don't mind. Business athlete.
Absolutely.
Freaking love it. All right, mate, we better get into this. Okay, so you've talked about margins, your philosophies and things like that. And as I said, want to get into this pipeline and profit roadshow, and obviously you've given a fair bit of information away just there, how to figure out their businesses and margins. So thank you very much from our community, mate. But what would people expect when they go to these roadshows, and what's coming up? When are they on? Tell us a bit about the roadshow, mate.
Okay, so first, what to expect. So the first thing is it's 3 hours long. So you're taking 3 hours out to work on your business rather than in it. So we've got a workbook that everyone goes through, and the workbook takes you through, first thing is getting clarity on what does success look like for you? What are you actually trying to build? So what do you want your profit, revenue, your role, number of projects that you do per year, and is there anything else important to you, like start doing speckies or developments, pay off your mortgage in the next 5 years? What does success look like to you? So we get clear on that. We reverse engineer success. What are you building? Next, we look at what is your PBR. So your PBR is your professional builder's rate. So what this does is it takes your salary, let's say that's 100K, then takes your company profits, let's say that's 150. We add those two together, we've got 250. That gives us $5,000 a week. We divide that by the average amount of hours that you're doing. So let's say you're doing 50 hours a week. We now know that your professional builder's rate is $100 an hour.
Yeah.
So now anything that is below that during your week, you can make a list. What is all the stuff that you suck at, procrastinate on, or is below your PBR of $100 an hour? We're going to figure out how over the next 30 days we stop, automate, or delegate that and get that off your plate to free up time to work on systemizing the business, sales and marketing, and actually who do you need to hire to get to where you want to go.
Bloody hell. That's awesome.
So that's the first part. Then we get into numbers, and we look at what do you need to be pricing your projects at. There's case studies in here. So we hear from other members who are crushing it, who are maybe where you currently are and now where you want to get to. So we have guest speakers at a lot of these. Then we go through the A to Z of operations. So this is like the systems architecture of the whole business. And we get you to go, what is Red, it's a massive area that needs attention right away. What's orange, it's fine right now. And it's fine for the next 90 days. And what's green, it's fine right now.
Yeah.
So we can then identify, hey, maybe you've got plenty of leads coming through, but your project management, you guys aren't capturing variations. A lot of those are being missed. Or maybe your productivity on site's not so great. Or you're not back costing in real time and you're not able to control or understand your work in progress.
Wow.
So maybe that's an area that you really want to focus on.
So in this workshop, Marty, I just quickly saw a picture, and sorry to cut you off, mate, but it had all the columns and categories of operation and tasks and lists and things. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I reckon a lot of builders that would come fresh off the I was going to say fresh off the boat, but that's not the right word. But especially in what's going on in today's society.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was going to say fresh into your community, mate. That's what it is, into your great community that you've built. Most of them wouldn't even have that. They wouldn't even have, some of them wouldn't even have a clue. I'm not being rude here, but they wouldn't have a clue. Some of it would be red. They'd be like, I didn't even know that we do that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a big one is when you see it all mapped out, you can go, oh, hey, actually, we're really good at that. And we're awesome on site. But just around the numbers, we need to price to a target margin. Cool. Well, let's make sure that we nail that. Next, we need to make sure that the foreman is involved in the pricing because he's going to be up to 80% of the success on how well the job goes. Yeah. Okay, do we have a list of the top 15 tasks that the foreman is going to take off the owner over the next 90 days? Yeah. Great. And then we actually have plug and play systems for each one of those so that if you step away, the foreman can run client meetings how you do. The foreman can run the toolbox meetings. The foreman can do the forecast versus actual labor hours every week so that you know, hey, cladding was meant to take 100 hours. We're halfway through. But hey, we're at 65 hours, guys. What do we got to do to pull back 15 hours? Otherwise, no one's getting their bonus.
Yeah. Wow. Marty.
Then we roll.
So cool.
Then we roll into marketing. So we get clear on how you're getting the right kind of leads. What do those look like for you? And we roll through a couple of online strategies. And then we also go through the TPB 1% referral system and how to use that 3 streets wide with flyers from your team. So how the 1% referral system works is a lot of people say, well, I don't have to market. I just get work through word of mouth and wear it like a badge of honor. And it's like, that's great, but hope is not a strategy. And it's great when times are good, but we don't know if someone's going to show up tomorrow, next week, next month, or in 6 months with the right kind of referral. So what this does is it helps to put referral system onto steroids. So how it works is if you refer a project to me, let's say a 600K new build, then that's probably in Dubbo or Wagga Wagga though, then what's going to happen is that you're going to get 1% of that once the contract's signed and the deposit's paid. That 600K gets built into the margin, so it becomes a 606K project.
Yeah.
The client gets a great builder that has like a quality assurance checklist, plug and play systems. They make sure that, hey, they're putting their money in a separate trust account so they know that, you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the client referrer gets rewarded with that 1%. Now, some people can be a little bit funny about 1%. So what we can do is we can say, hey, up to X, we will give you a Christmas hamper. Up to Y, we'll give you a spa pool. And up to Z, we'll pay for a trip for two of you to go to Fiji for 5 days. Might be $1 million project. Now, what our members who are really smart then do is, so we give them all the tools, resources, the plug and play scripts, the PDFs and so forth. You version that for what you want. And then the best people to recommend you are past clients, any of your team, your sub-trades, and then if you're in a local BNI, Business Networking International, then you probably know the local mortgage broker, real estate agent, et cetera, et cetera. And how this works is you can go to your local school or club and say, hey, we will give you the 1% referral, and that can go towards the school's swimming pool or the school's rugby team trip overseas. So one of our members just did this recently in Wellington. They landed 1.7 mil worth of work. So the school got $17,000 to put towards the school
Oh, God.
swimming pool repairs, and all they did was advertise in the school's newsletter every month.
Wow.
So they get
That's
the margin, the job at 20%. The school's happy because it gets that, and the clients get a great local builder.
my goodness, Marty. Mate, you know what? You would be familiar over here, and I know this is not what you do, but one of the experiences of my life that I always hold dear was I got to sit with the creator of Metricon Homes, and they're massive over here.
Yep.
But I got to sit with Mario one night for dinner. I said to him, "What's the difference between us and you guys?" Because they were always beating us, and he said, "We're a sales and marketing business, and you're a builder." And you were
Yes.
kind of hinting to me that we were about, obviously they're more business minded, they're more sales and marketing minded. They're all the things that a builder needs to become. And of course, you're a builder, but what the builders need to become. And it's exactly what you do, Marty, and just what you spoke about, mate. It made the hair stand on the back of my neck because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I'm like, you remind me of this bloke. And he, obviously a very successful guy. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. But like you've done so much. That sort of stuff is so cool, mate.
Absolutely. I think that's a big thing to just to touch on that is, are
Yeah,
you building a business, and a business has systems, it gives you true wealth, both more time and more money, or are you building yourself a busy job with overheads that can feel like a prison?
I love it. Yeah. And that's what we hear a lot, Marty, out there in our community. And and I'm sure when people come into yours after they've gone through it, they're probably not. But we hear a lot of that in our community. I feel trapped, and I think that comes back to the mental health issues we have in the industry as well.
Yeah,
It all comes
100%.
back to feeling trapped, and and it's because I truly believe, because I've been there, Marty. Now I'm going off on a tangent, mate, but I own my own. I went and I worked for GJ's and I did my own marketing business. And I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to run, even though I'd been in business. You still don't know, even though I was different from a builder. Mate, it was the thing, not being able to handle the business and it going out of control was my worst mental health issue,
Yeah,
you know?
100% right.
And I believe in
I
building the same, man. What did
Yeah,
you?
like I almost, so I grew a large cleaning company here in Auckland 10 years ago to
Wow.
42 staff, it's New Zealand's large, or Auckland's largest private cleaning company.
Jeez.
But I did a very bad job of it. I didn't understand the numbers fundamentally. I didn't make the tough decisions. We were sitting at a 22% gross margin, and the company had big overheads. We had 3 estimators,
Wow.
salespeople, and 10 people in the head office. And so I almost went under, um, ended up owing like 387K. And I remember calling a couple of my mates. One of them said, no, can't lend you any money. Luckily, one mate lent me 25 grand, which bought me a bit of time. Called my mum to borrow 10 grand. She was like, no. And then my dad mortgaged his house for 50K. And so there's nothing more debilitating or stressful I've found than lying awake at night when I had 2 small boys, Ashton and Zach, 2 and 5, they're 11 and 14 now, at the time, and you're thinking, how the hell do I get out of this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm going under. This is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so we ended up doing a creditors compromise, liquidated the business, sold the assets. I was able to pay down some of the debt, and it's not the big debtors or the big creditors that will put you out of business. It's the small guys, the local pit stop that you owe
Yeah.
$1,200 to, comes knocking on your door late at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it took about 4 years to extended our overdraft with the bank. The bank was very good, and we were able to pay that off over the next 4.5 years. And I just remember the stress of, not making the tough decisions, not changing, because I had self-limiting beliefs, as we all do, around, I can't charge that much, or builders, this is a 10% town, or I can't charge for quotes, or I can't hire good guys, or, if I go away from site, everything turns to custard. And those beliefs will keep you trapped.
Yeah. Yeah. And it kind of brings us to the next point. You've gone through the workshops, which I think all of the builders out there, go and check it out. We'll put a link in the below and things, how you can get involved with this. And we'll be putting out a whole heap of stuff too, Marty. I love the fireworks there, mate, too. They look cool. We will. I wish I would do it for my mate. We're going to put it out there. I think if they can get in there, it's just going to create so much less stress and so much more freedom, for builders out there. But talking about that, what some of the lessons from coaching, you said 3,000 builders. I think I started the podcast with 2,500 builders, but you've done nearly 3,000 builders now. What do you think separates the more profitable builders from some of those who have been struggling? You talked about, of course, the profitability. I think you just touched on the self-limiting beliefs and things like that as well, Marty. What do you think are some of the biggest ones?
So I would say number one is curiosity and intensity. So be curious. The guys who are profitable, who are going well, are always thinking, how do I get better? How do I improve? So it's learning plus action. And the first thing that predicates learning is curiosity. Like if you want to get better at playing tennis, you can try and do that on your own, or you can go and get a coach. You can, if you want to bake a great cake for somebody's birthday, you can do it on your own, or you can get Gordon Ramsay's recipe that's going to give you all the ingredients. And if you follow the process, you'll get a similar outcome to what he did. So I think that's one of the biggest things is curiosity, and then the learning with massive action. That's what leads to transformation. Number two is showing up and doing the work. Reps under the bar, tension makes you better at whatever it is. And quite often it's time in the game and getting better at your craft. And then lastly, it's separating out time to work on the business every week. So we recommend 5 hours per week to put these systems into your business to begin with. So typically that might be 1 hour a day, half an hour at the beginning, half an hour at the end to begin with, until we can buy back that time, that 1 day a week in the first 90 days, so that you've now got a whole day free to work on the business rather than in it.
Yeah. No, that's phenomenal. And for builders, like, as I said, I think all builders that are listening here should go to your workshop. For builders that are unsure, keep getting a day away from the site and away from business. I know that's always a big thing. Again, when I had my previous business, even though it wasn't a building business, I did end up getting involved in a building business. Taking a day off from your business, it always seems daunting. What would you say to them?
I'd say, is this as good as it gets? Are you on the right track to achieve your goals? Where will you be in the next 12 months, let alone 10 years, on the same trajectory if you keep doing the same stuff? If you want to get a different result, do things differently. And what is it costing you, either A, not knowing these skills, or B, knowing but not implementing into your business? Is it costing you 60-hour weeks? Is it costing you? A lot of builders haven't been able to take a holiday with their family. Maybe it's lack of, financial security. Maybe you're only 5 to 10 years away from retirement, and you want to build the asset value of your company so that you can sell it for a decent multiple or structure a buy-in with one of your team. Maybe it's cash flow problems that you're just tired of. Or maybe you're going, great, things are awesome, and you just want to be able to go better, install a GM, structure a buy-in with him so that you can go off and, like a lot of our members in our boardroom program do, they're doing second businesses, they're doing house and land, they're doing specs, or they're opening second or third locations. So what does success look like to you? And I would say take that 1 day out or 3 hours out to work on your business rather than in it. It'll be some of the most productive 3 hours that you could do and give you clarity. And we'll give you a book as well.
Yeah. You get the whole plate. You get the whole plate. So that's your
exactly.
Too,
yeah,
Marty?
So you get the workbook and you get my
Playbook.
book, The Profitable Builders Playbook, number 1 on Amazon in 3 categories. So we give these to you, $3,000 worth of resources in here. But again, this only works if you work.
Mate, I'm going to buy a few copies of that Profitable Builder. I don't want them from you. I'm going to buy a few and we're going to give them away on socials. All right?
You are a legend, Aaron.
No, I would love all the listeners out there, keep an eye on our socials. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to drop a competition and we're going to give away 5 books. I
Awesome.
love what you've talked about.
I'll match that 5, Aaron, and we'll
We'll
it
do
10.
10. All right.
Perfect.
Mate, I'll buy 5. Marty, you're a legend. He'll drop in 5. Guys, if you heard of what we've talked about today, it's been freaking phenomenal, Marty. I could talk to you all day, and I think we need to do another follow-up, actually.
I think we do need a follow-up. Yes, absolutely.
You know, the time has gone so quick. But so, guys and girls, first thing, get into Marty's workshop. We're going to drop the links below. Please, you know, register, go and check it out. Go and even check out the Professional Builder website and see what sort of coaching courses and things will work for you. Keep an eye out for the book. Buy the book. Yep. If you don't want to go in the competition, you can go and buy it as well.
And the Roadshow is going to be in Toowoomba, Tuesday, October the 14th. Northern Brisbane, Wednesday, October the 15th. Southern Brisbane, Thursday, October the 16th. Noosa, land of 300 roundabouts, Friday, October the 17th. Newcastle, Tuesday, October the 21st. Liverpool, the 22nd. Manly, terrible rugby league team, October the 23rd.
I love it. And there's something else I'm going to match too, Marty. I am 15 minutes from Noosa, and October 17th, I've got nothing to do, mate.
Sam,
that too.
We would love to have you there. Yeah, that would be awesome.
We're going to cover we're going to cover it on the Good Builder. We'll do a few interviews of the builders there, and we'll give a few insights about what goes on, because this has been an amazing podcast, and I want to now show translation in real life what goes on. I think that's super cool. But I have one more question for you, Marty, and it's our big one, mate. Absolutely. You know we call it the Good Builder here?
Yes, I do.
What do you think makes a good builder, mate?
Well, I've thought about this all day, and I've thought, can I be cheeky enough to change the question to what makes a good building company owner?
Yes, you can.
Fantastic.
Go for it. I love it.
Awesome. So I think number one is having a clear vision and goals big enough that your team members can achieve their goals within. This way you're able to enroll and inspire your team members who can see their future with you, and they're not looking to leave just for a higher paycheck with someone else. 2, someone who builds a high-performing culture, a culture of ownership, accountability, and how we do that is with visibility of numbers. So know and show your numbers. So that's company numbers, project numbers, forecast versus actual in your construction meetings with your team. And then lastly, each role should have a scorecard. So they have one number, and the project manager, the QS, the office manager, I can say, hey, Aaron, are you winning? And you can go, hell yeah, I'm within 5% of my labor hours by stage. I'm on fire. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And lastly, a great building company owner learns, takes massive action. They shorten the gap between learning and implementation, and they build an environment that lifts others up.
Mate, I love everything you said, because what I'm getting from you on this whole podcast is it's not just, and it's not at all fluff. It's actually, this is what you have to do, you know, and I love the way you really just set it out there. I think that makes a good building company. And I think that actually makes a good builder, Marty. 100%. When you have all those three things, you are a good builder. I think that's phenomenal. And it seems like that's what your business does for builders. It provides that community and support network that they can do all those three things that you just spoke about. And we'll be actually dropping, there's so much from this. I'll be dropping an article on this. We'll be dropping an article on this from the Good Builder, and we'll get a few quotes from you, mate, because I think that's some gold that I've picked up today that no one has ever actually expressed it in that way, and how you've broken it down into almost action items that contribute to becoming a good builder and what they need to do. I love it. Love it, mate.
I appreciate you, Aaron, and thank you very much for having me. And
no worries.
I'll look forward to seeing you on the GC and next week on Friday, and I'll connect with you before then.
Mate, I will. I'll see you GC Friday, then 17th in Noosa, and we're going to give away those 10 books. I love it. You're awesome. An absolute legend, Marty. Mate, well, thank you so much for your time. We'll end it now, but we're going to have Marty back on.
Appreciate you, Aaron.
Thanks, mate.